We think of our planet as a comfortable home, blue skies, green fields, gentle rain. But Earth keeps a handful of places so hostile, they feel like alien worlds. Places where the air can cook you, freeze you, or dissolve you before you ever catch your breath. In the next few minutes, we're going to travel to the absolute limits of our world. The hottest ground ever measured, the coldest air a human has ever stood in, the deepest pit in the ocean, and lakes so caustic they turn animals to stone. Some of these places have killed, a few impossibly are home. So take a breath while you still can. This is a tour of the most extreme places on Earth, and the stubborn, almost unbelievable life that clings to them. Our journey begins in the heat. In the eastern California desert lies a valley so brutal that early travelers gave it a name that stuck: Death Valley. On the 10th of July, 1913, a thermometer at Furnace Creek climbed to 56.7 degrees Celsius, 134 degrees Fahrenheit. That reading still stands as the highest air temperature ever officially recorded on the surface of our planet. On days like that, the ground itself can pass 90 degrees Celsius, hot enough to fry an egg on a bare rock, and hot enough to kill an unprepared hiker in a single afternoon. But heat is only half the story. Cross to North Africa and you reach the Sahara, a sea of sand roughly the size of the United States. Here the dunes can rise higher than office towers, and by day the surface shimmers under a sun that hasn't been softened by a single cloud. Now go west, to a thin strip of land pinned between the Andes and the Pacific. This is the Atacama Desert in Chile, the driest place on Earth outside the poles. Some weather stations here have never, in their entire recorded history, measured a single drop of rain. Parts of the Atacama may have gone more than 400 years without meaningful rainfall. The soil is so dry and sterile that NASA tests its Mars rovers here, because this corner of Chile is the closest thing on Earth to the surface of another planet. And for the single hottest place where people actually live, we descend into Ethiopia's Danakil Depression. This is a sunken basin more than 100 meters below sea level, where the average temperature soars past 34 degrees, and summer highs punch far beyond 50. From the furnace, we swing to the opposite extreme. At the bottom of the world sits Antarctica, a continent buried under ice nearly 5 kilometers thick, holding most of the fresh water on the entire planet. Deep in its frozen interior stands a lonely Russian outpost called Vostok Station. On the 21st of July, 1983, instruments there recorded the coldest natural temperature ever measured on Earth, -89, 2 degrees Celsius, that's -128.6 Fahrenheit. It's hard to even imagine cold like that. Throw a cup of boiling water into the air, and it freezes into a cloud of crystals before it lands. Exhaled breath crackles into ice fog, and steel becomes so brittle it can shatter like glass. You don't have to reach Antarctica to find killing cold, though. In the Siberian village of Oymyakon, ordinary people live through winters that plunge past -60 degrees. Eyelashes freeze together, car engines are left running all night, and the ground never fully thaws. Cold on this scale doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it hunts you. Exposed skin can freeze in minutes, and the human body begins shutting down long before the thermometer reaches its very worst. Now let's stop measuring temperature and start measuring distance, up and then straight down. On the border of Nepal and Tibet, the crown of the planet pierces the sky. Mount Everest rises 849 meters, into air so thin that most climbers cannot survive there without bottled oxygen. The upper reaches of Everest are known simply as the death zone. Above 8,000 meters, the body is literally dying, starved of oxygen, unable to recover, running only on a clock. More than 300 people have died on this mountain, and many of them remain up there still. But here's a twist that surprises almost everyone. Everest is the tallest mountain, yet its peak is not the point on Earth closest to space. That honor belongs to Chimborazo, a volcano in Ecuador. Because our planet bulges at the equator, Chimborazo's summit sits farther from the center of the Earth than Everest ever does. Now we go the other way, down into the ocean. In the western Pacific lies a wound in the seafloor called the Mariana Trench, and at its lowest point, the Challenger Deep, the bottom rests about 935 meters below the waves. Drop Mount Everest into that trench, and its summit would still be more than 2 kilometers underwater. Down there, the pressure is over 1,000 times what you feel at the surface, enough to crush a steel submarine like a soda can. Sunlight has never once reached this place, and the pull of the abyss doesn't stop at the sea. On land, explorers have crawled more than 2,000 meters straight down into the earth through Vyevkina Cave in the Caucasus Mountains, one of the deepest caves ever mapped, a vertical maze of freezing water and total darkness. Some places don't kill you with heat or cold or pressure. They kill you with chemistry. Back in Ethiopia's Danakil, the Dalal hot springs bubble up in impossible colors, neon yellow, acid green, blood red, as if paint had been spilled across the salt. Those beautiful pools are among the most acidic waters on the planet, with a pH close to 0, stronger than battery acid, and temperatures near boiling. In the harshest of them, scientists have found no life at all. This is one of the rare spots where our tough, adaptable Earth simply gives up. On the Indonesian island of Java, the volcano Kawah Ijen hides a different kind of nightmare. By day it looks like a calm turquoise lake. By night, electric blue flames pour down its slopes, burning sulfuric gas that ignites in the open air and glows like liquid fire in the dark. That turquoise lake is the largest highly acidic lake in the world, and everyday miners climb into the toxic fumes to haul out slabs of raw sulfur on their backs, up to 90 kilograms at a time, breathing gas that scars their lungs for just a few dollars a load. And in Tanzania, there's a lake that seems to belong on another world entirely. Lake Natron glows a deep blood red, and its water is so alkaline and salty it can burn skin and eyes. Animals that die in it are sometimes preserved, calcified, as if the lake had turned them to stone. By now, you might expect these places to be completely empty. And here is the strangest truth of all: almost none of them are. Wherever we look, no matter how brutal the conditions, life has somehow found a foothold. In acid springs and boiling pools, in salt so pure that nothing should grow, tiny microbes called extremophiles thrive. They breathe iron and sulfur instead of oxygen, and they treat poison as a meal. To them, our comfortable green world would be the deadly, unlivable place. The champion of survival, though, is small enough to sit on the tip of a needle. Meet the tardigrade, the water bear. Barely a millimeter long, it can survive being boiled, frozen near absolute zero, blasted with radiation, and dried out for years on end. Tardigrades have even been carried into orbit and exposed to the raw vacuum of space, and lived. When conditions turn deadly, they squeeze the water out of their bodies and drop into a state close to death, then simply wake up when the world becomes kind again. This is why scientists study Earth's most extreme places so obsessively. If life can cling to a boiling acid pool in Ethiopia or a frozen Chilean desert, then maybe it can survive on Mars or beneath the ice of a distant moon. Our harshest corners are a rehearsal for finding life beyond Earth. So our gentle blue planet has a wild side: furnaces and freezers, crushing depths and burning lakes, and creatures tough enough to laugh at all of them. The most extreme places on Earth aren't just where life ends. They're where life proves exactly how far it can go. If this journey blew your mind, subscribe and come with us to the next edge of the world.